This is Desert Lawn Memorial and Down Care, which is Mueller's funeral home. As you can see, the maker system and services. You can see the down increments of the Mueller's funeral home, and down the care at J. Mueller's administration, Amy Mueller's at the vice president stake. Vice president, stake, Don Chocolate Mumu, Amy Mueller, of course, and also the coffin for the mausoleum increments on the service, on the down care service, which is Mueller's funeral home at 1401 South Union, which is the administration right. It's 7:42 p.m. 7:36 p.m. May 7, 2020. 7:36 p.m. 7. May 7, 2020. Now the service for the headstones and this plot, this headstone, this is the lot, this lot increment of this service, as you can see. And the service of the increments at Mueller's funeral home. It's been here since George Washington flag, USS Washington, and also the increments on the scan, as you can see. We have the whacker. And then the mausoleum, the pond, Rest Haven, Glendale, remember Glen, and increments for the crematorium for the COVID-19. Now, COVID-19 has these modalities, these services, the expansion of the benches, the pond, the shrubs are removed, so you can see more of the property itself instead of being blocked by shrubs, and also the increments of these headstones and markers, which there's vacancy everywhere for caskets, urns, and as you can see, this is another body transplanted. On this is the marker, the hub, I'm sorry. This is your hub. Your hub for your lot for the burial of this one. Now you got urns, caskets, and also increments. On your George Washington had surveyors, professional surveyors. George Washington himself was a surveyor in Virginia, plantation property. This is Ross and Weber. This is John Coral, Virginia Carroll. And these increments of these headstones, and you got Quigley, outskirts of the shrub area, you can see. And you got these vacancies, these lots and spaces, availability on this side versus monuments and the sunken graves that will be backfilled with soil and also put into level. And as this one, for one, this headstone, granite headstone with the sod that's whacked the sod that's put in for underneath the granite needs to be replaced, of course, and the individual service of bringing back this second grave in. And also the increments that they say for the sprinkler system, making sure the headstones, the flower garden, the flowers is watered constantly, trimmed by a hedger, and then the sprinkler heads are covered with concrete liners, concrete around it, so the high impact rainbirds are not damaged in any way, shape, or form. As you can see, the increments of what it looks like before and after the burial, and the effects of what it looks like and after before, which will be uptaked in a serious professional manner. As you can see, the next would be forest lawn. Now, forest lawn has this beautiful hole dug up 6 feet, concrete liner, and this would be concrete liner, or orchid, or a Monticello. And this is Jackson, Joe D, Betty B, and Mom and Dad, Papa, Grandma, Grandpa, and this is the what it looks like, and the moderated of the services, and make sure nothing's in any way, in shape, and form. We got another backfill with some soil, some whack, and that's be Joe Boyce, U.S. Navy, and all nurses, Lerner Hoff. See, these increments of updating these services of the services, you can see array of individuality of making sure the uptake system for the, of course, the flowers, hedges, headstones, sunken graves are brought up to a efficiency, making sure it's whacked and also watered down, so all the nutrients are sucked up in the soil, the sod, and collectively grown back and replenish, of course, for second grade. Now, they got another area, which is across the way. We got the, of course, the statue. That's a statue which holds, which is a white blanket, which resembles the 21 gun salute at one time. This is where the Pentagon used to be a long time ago, military status. Rest Haven, and here in Forest Lawn. They had 20 gun guns. That's J. Mueller administration, the Air Force and Marines. Leonard Bambach, Daryl Johnson, United States Army, Green Beret, and that's Fort Bragg, and also 101st. There's the increments on that. Mr. J. Mueller, United States Air Force. Mr. Frank Musco, U.S. Navy, and also Leonard Bambach, U.S. Marine Corps. Now, there's a come on to me all, we that we labor and are heavy laden, and will give you rest. Matthew 11.28. Now, the quote in the Mormon LDS Church in the Bible of President Hinckley, and also President Hinckley and Taylor on the archive for the LDS Church of the Latter-day Saints of the Increments, LDS Church, or you can see the LDS Church itself. It has the emblem of the come unto me all that labor and are heavy laden, and will give you. Matthew 11.28. Now, the sophisticated of the individual sarcasm, the upkeeping service that they have in this service. The heart of that's on the chest and emblems of the partake, Mr. Father Tom, Father Dylan, Father Richard, Mr. Cepeda in fellow Washington, St. Joseph Church in Kennewick, St. Patch in Pasco. The hands are removed from Pasco, knowing for the fact that come unto me, all ye that labor are heavy laden, and will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Now, this section is 13, I believe. And this section here, where we got some, of course, some grave, unmarked grave. Basically, this unmarked grave is put in here in 13 area, and it's going to whacked, make sure it's not sunk any way, shape, and form, and make sure that the increments of their service are put into COVID-19 activities. Now, the service for this sunken grave, which we implement onto the statue, and as you see the resemblance of the statue, you can double take on that, which is come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Now, the LDS Church and also President Hinckley and also Mr. Taylor increments on the services of partaking labor unto 11.28. The back rear end of the St. Patrick's Church, St. Joseph in Kennewick, St. Pat's in Pasco, and also Sacred Heart Church and Mr. Cepeda, Father Tom, Father Dylan, Father Richard, and Father Tom, Father Richard, and Father Dylan. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and will give you relief. President Hinckley and also the Taylor Mystery Archive System. And we're going to continue on to the crematorium, which carries out sanctions, merits for the COVID-19. Remember, the COVID-19 providing these services, human resources, of course. Mrs. Larissa Press from Human Ephrata Courthouse, and Daniel Garth from Administration Prosecutor and Ephrata, Washington, which is Moses Lake, Grant County. And Adams County is Franklin County because it's on the same property. That's Amir Singh Nijjar. Cimaron 5 INC AJMR Singh SAN Nijjar, Donald Trump, and also Avak and Mumu Ganja and Tiffany Barron and also Eric. These services of in their area of cleansing and reflecting. And this COVID-19. This is Arthur T. Thacker, November 30th, 1884, April 1st, 1958. The labor of my shepherd I shall not want. See, this is J. Mueller administration. This is when George Washington was in office, but this is 1884. Now, 1884 is serious individually of circumstances. Now, this is 1880 and 1890, and the World War II. This is 1923, 1926, Wilma Billy Davis, and also Joyce Combs. This is 1928 and 1928. This is 1923. This is 1926. This is 1937. See, there's a lot of property here that used to be tumbleweeds out here long time ago. Mother, father, siblings, and children. Mueller's administration. And this is Norma Jean, 1932, 1929. Massengale through We Are But Dust in the Wind, or Spirit Will Live Forever. See, this is a common knowledge of these years and calibrations that were long time ago. You get the 1800s, and 1800s is right next to 1800s. There's a doorway. 1800s. We got markers from 1700s, 1800s. George Washington himself. There's a George Washington flag and Mueller's headstone at the Olympia graveyard on Olympia. And also, this is 10th Avenue in Olympia. And 10th Avenue in Olympia, we got a monument, Forest Lawn. Dedicated to May 30th, 1970 by the Veterans of Foreign Wars, American Legion, memory of Comrade John T. Kendall, 1890, 1969. This is the George Washington flag. This is the Washington State flag that flies at the USS Washington. Now, the 1800s right across the street is the crematorium office, now located at Mueller's Tri-City Funeral Home at 14 South Union, Kennewick, Washington, 99338. Mueller's Administration House, Funeral Crematorium, Tri-City Funeral Home, 14th Union. Now, the crematorium has the cremations and urns, and accepting inquiries on the services that you can see. The processing and, of course, the bathroom and the services for the increments. And the urns and crematoriums where you can put your urns and headstones at, and put the situated individual tree that's been pulling the headstones out of the ground. And they cut that down because the headstones were getting pulled out of the ground. And looking at the damage, you can see the surfacing of the USS Liquor sub pulling out of the ground if it speaks. Now, T.P. Elliott is Daryl Johnson's father. He's a Green Beret. He's buried over here where this big rock is at. This big, gigantic rock. Very heavy rock. And this heavy rock is presided at Mueller's administration office on 10th. And there's a pond here. We've got a liner pond that was put in. Now it's redone and rebuilt with mausoleums and a pond and some urns for shelving for urns and inserting into the crematorium, into the jet engine. And this is a jet engine. It's $80,000 jet engine that's at the crematorium. And it runs on aviation fuel. It's a jet engine. 0 to 15,000 degrees in seconds. Moderated body, 300-pound body, 200-pound body is not too long. It would be rotated and spackled, put in the blender, inserted in an individual urn bag, and put into an individual plastic bag for human resources of getting rid of the cause of death, the death certificate. The death certificate also either Roberta Barela, Lola Hernandez, there's Fabian Barela, there's 507 Apartment 205, and also Mr. State Patrolman Sonner that was killed at Secretary Apartments 205, and this is the doorway entranceway for Roberta Barela. She goes in the crematorium, and the jet engine goes on 0 to 1 second, 0 to 15,000 degrees into this crematorium. And the crematorium, the body is burnt up instantly. takes a 100-pound, 200-pound body, and get rid of it and put it in cremains and burn it up, and put it in the blender, and then there'd be nothing but dust of ash left of the body, of the bone marrow, the teeth, the dental. Now, the Max is selling at the surgery, Mr. Crawford's office on Young Street, and Andy Miller's office, the coroner's office, 71110 West Okanagan. This is a cemetery office now clearing Mueller's Tracy for him. And right across the street is the Forest Lawn. The Admiral, the General, George Washington, John F. Kennedy's bodies and remains, Abraham Lincoln, the resigning presidents, the president's children, Kennedy family, and also the increments of removal and body removal determents. This is Forest Lawn. As you can see, the increments of the flag, the USS Washington flag, the new pond that's remodeled, and Daryl Johnson, he's a Green Beret. He had his father was in Pasco, Washington. He resided in Pasco, Washington, and he was Daryl Johnson's father, and he was he's a gold miner, and gold miners have he had a lot of money invested in his gold mines, and he had a gold mine business. This gold mine business, he increments of his services of providing headstones and granites and stuff. And Daryl Johnson was confronted many times with a photo picture to his face, letting him know that Mr. J. Mueller had nothing to do with Daryl Johnson. J. Mueller gave Daryl Johnson money. Daryl Johnson showed up at the Secretary of Apartments. Same with State Patrolman Soderman, which was killed at Department 205 with Lola Hernandez, Roberta Barela, Fabian Barela. And he was from Woodsville, Washington, and he drove all the way to the Mueller's funeral home, and also he's in the casket, open casket. And this is T.P. Elliott, which is Daryl Johnson's father. And these services, this is his rest haven right here. And the pond and the rock that sits there by the tree here, by the entranceway, is added on to the archive system. Now, Daryl Johnson, Len Bambach, this rock here, confronting Daryl Johnson, put this picture of this girl on this increment on this cremator, and let her know that Daryl Johnson, he's a Vietnam vet, and Mr. Leonard Bambach, and I saw Eric Benson, and their confrontations, and Homer and Elliot. Homer and Elio at the crematorium here, and also the Mueller services here at the garage, applying their services for the increments, which confiscate for their services, since Daryl Johnson, Eric Benson, and Jay Mueller, and Jay Mueller with Felix Barela at the inside the warehouse and the crematorium, and also overturning all these bodies, Roberta Barela and Lola Hernandez. This is Parker's. Now Parker's, this update information they got is the urns, the shelving, the niches, and the pond, which is a liner. But it needed to be flooded out on 10th Avenue all the way into Olympia Street, which is Mueller's property too. That trailer has been removed. Elio and Homer used to live out of that trailer in Olympia, Washington, but that didn't work out. State Patrolman was killed at Apartment 205, Secretary Apartments, applying their sciences of operative life care, oxygen tank, a wheelchair, and also a scooter, power scooter, and this liner. Oh, actually, this is the same liner I put in. So expanding to this liner, they added some features for this pond. Benton PUD, Richland City Hall, and also Vista Utilities. That's Amir Singh Nijjar, AJ Amir Singh, SINGH, Nijjar, and AJJR. Mumu Ganja, Mandeep, and Rami, and Jasmine, and Hamander, and Jajmel, Kandar, Nandar, SINGH and Mandeep car, and also Mumun Ganja, Love Perret, Katrina, Governor, and also Rikush. They have services for these pond update. And it is the same liner I put in, actually. This liner that we put in is renovated and rebuilt and put in, and to bring out the niching in the urns and crematorium. That's Roberta Barela and Lola Hernandez, and John Hernandez, Samuel Hernandez, Daniel Hernandez, Mr. Cy Hernandez, which has been thrown off the bridge at the Charlie Cox, which is now Easter Day Farms, for being associated with the murder in Rest Haven. There's a murder case in Rest Haven, multi-gunshot wounds. But anyways, they like burning Felix Barela up and throwing his body into the Finley Park, Over Park, and making it like a murder case scene, as you see. And it's pretty much a murder case scene, I pretty much think it is. Because it's criteria of the services and increments, as you can see, reflects on all the pond ordinances.